Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome back to the Wobblin Sports channel. If you are new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. To everybody that's tuning in right now, thank you very much for your time. It really does mean a lot. So please share and spread the good word about the Wobblin Sports channel. We're very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. It'll be amazing. That'll be amazing when we get there. Few talking points I want to get through. So the first talking point I want to talk about is the WM leaderboard at the moment. A brand new system that was put in place during the off season, where two judges will be gifting out these points. And the judges are going to be kept anonymous. The judges will not be revealed. And the maximum amount of points any one player can get for a standout performance is 6 points. And as we can all see there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that did hit that maximum of 6 points, with Harry Grant being the preferred option to be on top of the ladder board or on top of the leaderboard. But Harry Grant, Chance Nickel-Klukstar, Daly Cherry Evans, Lachlan Ilias, Jeremy Marshall King are those players that did obtain maximum points there. There's a bit of conjecture about this as well. We should all know who the judges are. No, I don't think so. It's something that I actually don't really care for, but it's just interesting to know that whilst this was spoken about in the off season, now that the first round of Dally M points have been released, it's not something to really be fickle over. I don't really mind about the new point system. It actually keeps one judge more accountable as well. Say if James Tedesco, who is just about the rugby league's favourite son at the moment, say he only had a 4 out of 5 game when he was taking on the North Queensland Cowboys, for example, and Griffin Neame had a 5 out of 5 contest. It just means that one judge will probably give the maximum points to James Tedesco, but the other one keeps the system potentially very, very honest. And I don't need to know. I really don't need to know who's putting in the points for the Dally M this season. So I'm a fan of it. I think the Dally M points system has been stale for a few years now. So look, let's give this one a crack, and we'll reconvene. We'll see how the Dally M night goes. But I'm very much in agreement, though, with a few of those players that are up there on the Dally M leaderboard. Harry Grant, Chance Nickel-Klukstar. We'll get into something now that I want to talk about, but just want to say hello to Jason Reeder. Hey there, man. How you going? Jacko Hiri, Heidi Hey, League Maniacs. Well, I don't know what that is, mate. Marshall King is the most underrated player in the comp. Oh, that's a spicy take. From you, Jack O'Hare, mate. That's a very spicy take. He is certainly one of the most improved players over the past 18 months or so. And just before I get into my next topic, I do just want to say, if you have any questions, I will get to them at the end of the stream, or I'll get to them as swiftly as possible if it sort of co-aligns with the topic that I'm talking about. But you may have noticed, if you are subscribed, that a couple of weeks ago I did my first ever power rankings video. Let's get stuck in to round 1 power rankings, and let's see, in my opinion, and it'd be interesting to see your opinions and comments on this. Let's get into my power rankings list by the end of round 1. So unfortunately for the St. George Illawarra Dragons, on my first power rankings list, I had them in number 16. And look, they had the bye this past weekend. And because of one in particular team that we'll touch on shortly, the Dragons, they just have zero momentum at the moment. And I just cannot have them above anybody else on this power rankings list. But they have to wait until Sunday afternoon, the longest of anyone, obviously. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they go. Are they going to come out a little flat, or are they going to come out pardon the pun, breathing fire. Let's go into my second spot now. And Newcastle Knights were 14th on my first power rankings list. And after their performance against the Warriors, I couldn't have them in last, but I definitely think that there is so much to work on for the Newcastle Knights, almost too much for the Hunter Valley Knights to work on. So I've got them in second last place. Did I just call them the Hunter Valley Knights? Yes, I probably won't ever do that again. I promise you. Going into my third last team, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Boy, howdy. I think their first game and a half of 2023, they looked good. And then next game and a half, oh man, they looked like the Bulldogs of old or of the past few seasons, man. They were 12th on my list the week before, and I've got them going down 3 spots in number 15. In spot number 14, going down by 1 spot, the West Tigers. I didn't tip the Tigers. I'm glad I didn't, though, but the Tigers, they bought so much and it's not going to gel quickly. And I think the substitutions of Appy Coruscant and the like from Tim Sheens was wildly bad, bro. So I've got the Tigers just going down 1 spot because of their disappointing loss to the Titans at Leichhardt Oval. Going into number 13 now, I thought the Canberra Raiders were the most disappointing team of the preseason, and their first half an hour against the North Queensland Cowboys looked like that was not going to change. However, though, the Canberra Raiders defensively were very strong, very, very stout. It's not a big leap, but it is an improvement, definitely. They did look good, but they did not get the win. So I can't have them higher than 13th, but they do rise up the rankings. In number 12, though, this is controversial because of the next side that I'm going to talk about. But this side, the Warriors, yes, they got their first win of 2023. Great start to their campaign, but simply they let the Knights in the contest. They made the Knights look very competitive for quite a while there, had a shocking start. And I just think the next side that we're going to talk about was a little bit better. And whilst the Warriors got the win, I just think these new kids on the block, the Dolphins, I had them as the team with the least amount of momentum, the least amount of hype about them, and strike me bloody pink. The Dolphins are probably the biggest movers on my power rankings list this week, going from last to spot 11 for the Redcliffe Dolphins. We'll touch on them a little bit in just a little bit. And the side, though, look, the Roosters were without Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, Angus Crichton, Joey Manu, and a player or two more. But the Roosters have been disappointing, but I don't have them below the Redcliffe Dolphins because there are injury excuses or concerns. But they were in my top 6 in my first power rankings list, and I've had to drop them down into number 10. Going into number 9, it's sort of the same thing, though. The Parramatta Eels, they played really weird. Really weird. That's putting it really nicely. I had them in my top 8 to start off with, but I've had to drop them down a spot just because they started playing that too cute football that really made them inconsistent in 2023. But they're not all the way down the ladder because they are without back rowers. They are with a couple of fresh faces, and that's always going to take time. Going into my top 8 now. Who's in my top 8? I've got to pop the North Queensland Cowboys into my top 8. Not much of a move, but from 10th the week before into 8th, I think is fair. Their first half was outstanding. They completed 21 sets from 21 opportunities. So they were really good. But then the Raiders, as mentioned before, they certainly dialed up the defense to about level 9, just about. So not too much of an improvement on the list, but it is a great stride in the right direction. Team number 7 for me, the Melbourne Storm, to do it without Cameron Munster for a period of time, to do it without a handful of other players like Kamikamika and Tarek Sims and Justin Olam, for them to get the win against Parramatta, who albeit were depleted themselves, I think they showed a tremendous amount of heart and courage to get back into the game. I would have them above the North Queensland Cowboys in number 7. Some people may be upset at this, but fair income, when they're on form, when I see someone on form, I've got to give them a rap. The Gold Coast Titans, bro. I know the West Tigers had a lot of drop ball, but I just don't think the Titans were ever phased by Wests at any stage, to be honest with you. I had them in 7th, and I do have them above Melbourne Storm because they are in better form, including preseason trial form. Here's another controversial one. I wonder what your guys' opinion on this is. Going into number 5, spot 5 on my power rankings list, dropping down a few spots, the Penrith Panthers. Boy, howdy. They are missing a couple of Panthers, and I'm going to try and stop saying that as well throughout 2023 because it's just about evident that they are missing them. Luke Garner, Zach Hosking, and Liam Martin, less Liam Martin, but they're back rowers as well. There is a spot there that they are yet to figure out, and also the hooking position as well. Maybe they might need to recalibrate. But I've actually got the Penrith Panthers dropping a couple of spots. They have lost just a cog of momentum. Going in to number 4, my top 4 from last week. They were on top of my list, but I've had to drop down the Cronulla Sharks. Nico Hines did miss out on this game, granted. Braden Trindle, though, is a player that I think is very reliable, and he certainly had a showing in this game for about, over half a game of footy, to be honest with you. But the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, they had the team to do it, and they made a lot of errors, bro. A lot of unforced errors. And so I've had to drop them down. Who's number 3 on my power rankings list for the end of round 1? It's the Brisbane Broncos. That defense was undeniable. It was an absolutely massive brick wall. And I've pumped them up from spot number 5 into number 3. They are the team with the 3rd best amount of momentum, taking them up the ladder. Team number 2, look, some people might think that they should be number 1 because they had arguably the best preseason of anybody. But the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, to me, are the 2nd best team in the competition as so far as who's got the best amount or the most amount of momentum. They are improving, they are impressing, but the only reason why I don't have them in number 1 is because they didn't beat a top caliber team like my number 1 team at the moment, who has the most amount of momentum than anybody. It's the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They went to Shark Park and got their first victory in Shark Park since 2014, I think it was. And just the style, the kind of game that we saw from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I think the South Sydney Rabbitohs this week, we'll see what happens next week, but I think the South Sydney Rabbitohs are the team at the moment to beat. They have the most amount of momentum to anybody at the moment. I just want to go into the comments section now. Dragons struggled but won the bye. Yes, they got 2 points. Jack O'Hare, Dogs very disappointing. Interesting fact about ex-Panthers assistants. The hyped-up Supercoach Sraldo lost first game, while the invisible Webster won. Yes, indeed, mate. Jack O'Hare also says Dolphins look damn good, but to be fair, Chookies were dreadful. But to be fair as well, the Chooks were missing a strong handful and did lose Matt Lodge for a period of time, including Egan Butcher for about 10 minutes. Jason Reader, speaking of Rooster supporters, Roosters was shocking. Oh man, that's harsh, bro. Roosters are an aging team. That's not unfair. I don't think that's unkind either. I think that's going to hold a lot of water in the next couple of weeks, man. Will says Panthers aren't who they were last year. Definitely lost that invincibility. Yeah, but it's certainly not panic stations yet. And Jack O'Hare says no Coruscant kick out. Panthers don't look the same. Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. Let's move on into the next section of what I'd like to talk about tonight, guys. And that's me first ever team of the week. It's me first ever Wobble and Jaw team of the week. And boy howdy, I had to change it right at the last second there because the bias in me nearly put in somebody that I think had a really good game, but there's no way I could have left somebody out. There's just no way. So who's in my team of the week? Let's start with the back row. My team of the week. In the back line, the back three. I think Chance Nickel Cookster, while he didn't make as many meters as a Dylan Edwards, I think Chance Nickel Cookster was so crucial to the New Zealand Warriors win this past weekend. His defense was outstanding. The amount of heart he showed as well after coming back from such a poor era, from such a tough start, to allow that Newcastle Knights try to happen inside the first 60 seconds. I think Chance Nickel Cookster would be great in any side over the past weekend. Then Mulatalo and Murray Taulagi. Controversially to some, I think Ronaldo Mulatalo definitely bombed a try, but he saved a couple as well. He was just so dangerous every time he got near the pill. I just had to have him as one of them. And Murray Taulagi, without him, and another player that I'm going to mention in a minute, without Murray Taulagi's carries coming out of trouble, the Cowboys really quite possibly may not have won that game. Murray Taulagi was massive. So my back three, Chance Nickel Cookster, Ronaldo Mulatalo, and Murray Taulagi. My center pairing of the week is Campbell Graham and Herbie Farnworth. And you look closely at Herbie Farnworth, and I did put in Valentine Holmes, but I thought, no, I'm probably being a little bit too biased there. Herbie Farnworth, 2 tries. Campbell Graham also killed it as well in the try scoring department. They were both outstanding. But I've got to say, Herbie Farnworth gets better and more exciting every time I see him play. Now, the halves pairing, my halves pairing of round one? It will probably come as no surprise, but I've got Cameron Munster and Daly Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans being the hat-trick hero for Manly on Saturday afternoon, and Cameron Munster just being a hero, like in the most positive, best way possible. He was so tough and it was so impressive what he was able to do. Some people didn't select him as man of the match. I think he gets man of the match alone just because of the leadership and the toughness that he showed. But the man of the match in that contest, though, that a lot of people have selected is definitely my hooker of the first round. Harry Grant is in the front row as hooker. And I think the 2 best front rowers of the weekend who I'd have in my team of the week, Payne Haas and Ruben Cotter. Go check out their stats. Haas and Cotter, you could argue 1 or 2 others, but I just have to go Haas and Ruben Cotter. Going into the back row now, my team of the week, Patrick Carrigan. This was close. This was really close. But I have selected Patrick Carrigan to be the lock of the weekend. Keon Kolomatangi he is a guy that is subtle to my eye. There have been standout games from him, but this guy, after reading his stats, and I watched the game, and he was very good to me naked eye. But you read his stats, and I go back and rewatch the game in highlight form. He was so strong and so important to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And then Felice Kaufusi, there's a really strong chance that if he didn't play in this contest, the Redcliffe Dolphins probably do not get the victory. So my back row team of the week is Carrigan, Koloamatangi, and Kaufusi. And my interchange for the round, Jeremy Marshall King, alluded to before. Jeremy Marshall King was out of this world good. My word, he was good. Moses Leota, I think in a losing side, I think he had such a great effect on the team. Maybe not as effective as a Dylan Edwards or impactful, but I think Moses Leota is someone that is going to, for me personally, going to be very hard to keep out of my team of the week on a weekly basis. Forgive the Panthers jersey because there's no photo of this man in a Parramatta Eels jersey, but Jermaine Hopgood, in his club debut for the Parramatta Eels at lock, played the entire 84 minutes going into Golden Point, extra time, obviously. Jermaine Hopgood, bro, in one game, he has proved everyone that the hype is real about this bloke. I've seen him play a New South Wales Cup last year, and he was certainly impressive. But to do what he did in a brand new team on the biggest stage, second to grand final day, I thought he was exceptional. And David Fafita, bro, he got into his work big time. I definitely think David Fafita is worthy of being in people's teams of the week, and really, really happy for the bloke indeed. If I had to as well, Wayne Bennett would have been the coach of the weekend as well. Just going into the comments now, was at the game. CNK is all quality. His positional play off the ball is outstanding. That's really cool that you were there at Sky Stadium in Wellington this past weekend, Jack O'Hare. CNK, he was so good. He was so good for you blokes. Really got the Warriors going forward in a real bloody hurry. We got Steelers Nation Australia. Go Manly. Go Manly, he says. Oh, man, you must be in or on cloud bloody nine at the moment. Will, what a ridiculously good team that is. Shit. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I didn't pick Valentine Holmes then. Because Herbie Farnworth, he is, oh man, the Dolphins must be already drooling about the prospects of Herbie Farnworth. Congrats to the Dolphins getting the first win. Steelers Nation says, yes, sir, absolutely. Jason Reeder, how did you go with your tips overall? I will, if you'd like to go back and watch the video that I did, maybe you can figure it out, but I got over 50%. I got over 50%, put it that way. So I'll take that. I'll take that indeed. It wasn't looking good for me at first, though. Fafita looks good outside Foreign for sure. And it looks like Foreign is not going to be inside of him next weekend, or this weekend, I should say. So that's poor luck on the Titans. That's two injuries. Well, Kieran Foran looks like it's going to be a soft tissue injury, like a cork. I don't think it's a cork, but it's going to be like that sort of injury for him. It's not anything interior. They copped Beau Fermor earlier in the week as well. So, the Titans have just gotten bitten by the injury bug at the moment, and it is unfortunate. So, what is one of the big talking points out of round one for 2023? I'm just going to make this one short and sweet. Forward pass technology. Get it in the game. Get it in the game. Everybody can see that there are forward passes, non-forward passes that are being ruled on incorrectly, no matter what the circumstance may be. The rugby union, they're already doing it. Get it in the game, or allow the bunker to rule on forward passes only in try-scoring situations, because otherwise we're going to be coming to a complete halt. Enough as it is. So forward pass technology for me, I am the biggest pro for. I want it. I need it. I want it and I need it, man. I'm sick of these touch judges ruling incorrectly and costing teams 4 or 6 points. It's getting ridiculous. We've got the technology. There are other high-level codes out there that are already doing it, but for some reason, we just can't bloody do it in the National Rugby League. Get it in the game, because it's going to cost, or it has cost, a team a really important victory. God damn it. God damn it. So just Steelers Nation round one, it was fun in my view. Some good footy. That's good. And Jack O'Hare, yeah, Union has had forward pass technology for a few years. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Is it finances? That's a strike me pink. I'll be wobbling me jaw a little bit too much. So the other point of conjecture from round one, is Panther talk. Let's have a bit of Penrith Panthers talk. The first thing I'd like to say is if you haven't, go and watch the Panthers documentary that dropped the other day. 3 episodes, 45 minutes each. The way it started was all about the community. It went back in history, and I really, really appreciated it. I even saw the Big Cat Chat podcast's Jack Martin in the first couple of minutes as well. I bloody dropped me floor through the concrete floor. But as a documentary, I think the second episode is the weakest. I think it could have been condensed down to 2 episodes, about 1 hour each, because at the moment they're only 45 minutes each. I don't think that second episode was crucial. Could have been edited down, but it's definitely one where if you're a Penrith Panthers fan, you're absolutely going to love it. As a neutral fan, it did get a little bit I don't know, I just couldn't connect with it because I'm a North Queensland Cowboys fan, but boy howdy, it was so interesting to see the behind the scenes action of the best team in the National Rugby League over the past 3 seasons go about their business. Ivan Cleary was so good. He was the MVP of that documentary, just quietly, in my opinion. Spencer Leniu as well. Wow. He's going to be missed big time. And Cameron Ciraldo, he was a funny bugger, wasn't he? Giving everybody the call names from Top Gun Maverick. He was very, very funny. So, look, if you're a Penrith Panthers fan, go and do it. If you're a rugby league fan, do it. But I think there's going to be a stage where you're really going to just be sucked out of it. So I don't know if I'd have to give it like a movie review, like star rating, I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5 sort of thing. I've got William Hunt in the chat. Good day. His second half was a nail biter against the Cowboys and Raiders. You don't want to know what I was bloody doing. I had to get the vacuum cleaner out on the couch, mate. I left that much sweat on it. It was a bit too much information. Sorry. Will, it's ridiculous to be honest. Surely not that freaking hard. No, it really shouldn't be that hard. Don't even get me started again, Will, you bugger. William Hunt, I mean cow second half. Yes, sir. Now I got you. William Hunt, I got you, bro. I absolutely got you. The other bit of Panther talk as well is we saw the vision of Jamin Salmon and Jerome Luai having an argument on the field. What an absolute non-event. An absolute non-event. You could have spoken more about the New Zealand Warriors, as Jack O'Hare alluded to. You could have spoken about anything else, but the cameras picked up a moment in time that, albeit is kind of rare to see. This is such a non-event, and there have been a good handful, not a lot, but there's been a good handful of people that have come out and said, the Panthers are done. It's a really toxic club. They're absolutely done for. You need to put a cork in it, bro, because that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, it's a freaking good thing that Jerome Luai and Jamin Salmon are arguing on the field, trying to get things right for their next matchup. I think it's fantastic. It happens with every other club in the game. It's a move on situation. I just really wanted to get that one off my chest. The biggest talking point, the absolute biggest talking point, I think, of the entire weekend is a sensitive, touchy subject. It's a difficult one to talk about, but the independent doctor dilemma that's going on at the moment. And it was really catapulted into the spotlight with the taking off of Kalen Ponga with about 10 minutes to go there. Kalen Ponga did collide with Aiden Fanua-Blake's hip, I guess you could say, in trying to get a bouncing ball. And he did stay down for a couple of seconds or so, but the independent doctor looked at it, stopped the game mid-set, and then had Kalen Ponga come off for the last 10 minutes or so, which I don't want to say costs Newcastle. I'm not going to say that, but Ponga was warming into that game rather nicely, bro. He really was. And so, unfortunately, Ponga was fine. Well, fortunately, he was fine. But for the independent doctor to make such a massive decision, unfortunately, the independent doctor was wrong. And what I've found over the first few weeks, including preseason, might I add, that the independent doctor has probably got a success rate of 60%, and that's really good. That's really good because at the moment, you'd rather have someone in a bunker somewhere wanting to be that doctor on FaceTime to evaluate them than have nobody there at all. And then in a couple of years' time, have somebody come out like what's happening with, I think, the AFL, WAFL men's or the NFL. Apologies, but you would rather have someone evaluate them over FaceTime than not have anybody there at all. And then in a few years' time, have a player come out and try and sue the National Rugby League for potentially $1 billion because of negligent actions or just this not enough welfare for the players. So I am in favor. I am a fan of the train of thought that an independent doctor needs to be there on the ground. The two things that people and the NRL, the RLPA, whoever, the 2 points that need to be ironed out big time in order for that to be successful. Say you take Barry or you take Cassandra out of the hospitals in rural New South Wales, or a doctor out of a busy city like Brisbane, out of one of the big, like Logan Hospital, for example. You take those doctors out of the hospital or your general GP or your GP, you're taking away from the community in order to make sure the NRL's ass is not sued. And the other point to that is you're going to have to get 8 every single week for 30 odd rounds of rugby league, including finals. And the pay packet is going to be very controversial. Who's going to pay these doctors once a week to potentially fly from Canberra to go over to Perth? Or, you could probably get a Perth doctor in Western Australia, but you get my point. You could fly someone, or you could get someone who's already a doctor in Townsville, in Perth, or what have you. But you're taking that doctor away from the community, and the doctor, every time there's a game played up there, wherever, is going to want a fair pay packet. Is it too much to ask by the doctors $100,000 a season to be an independent doctor? Is that too much to ask, or is that fair? I think it's probably just a little bit too much, because this independent doctor is going to have to be a fan of rugby league, is going to have to really love the game to get involved in such a massive capacity. But I do think that independent doctors need to be there. I think the independent doctors, while it's only been around for a year or so, there are still issues in the middle of a game that need to be rectified. I've seen this a couple of times, or a few times last year. I don't think it's really, I think it has happened this weekend with the New Zealand Warriors. But too many times have we all seen that the independent doctor has gone down to the referee. He's motioned, he's called for the referee to stop play, please. Stop play right now. But the New Zealand Warriors have just taken, I'm just using them as an example. The New Zealand Warriors have taken a quick tap from a 20-meter restart, 7 tackles. They've already made about 30 odd meters in 2 tackles, right? Again, this is just an example of what I have seen since the independent doctor has become a thing. And then the referee says, oi, Kalen Ponga, we're going to stop play. Kalen Ponga, he's got to go off for a head injury assessment. There has to be a better way, and it should be an easy fix too. There has to be a better way where clubs who has that momentum in general play, where they're not being denied a fair opportunity to continue momentum down paddock, especially if the day after it comes out that the independent doctor was wrong. I think the NRL, the RLPA, the players themselves, I think everybody just needs to just cop an extra couple of seconds in play. If the doctor says in the referee's ear, we need to stop play, the referee needs the common sense. The training must be put into these referees. The systems put in place to make sure that the referees stop the play at a convenient time, not in the middle of a game, especially when, let's say, for example, Kalen Ponga again is about 50 meters downfield, not in the line, not in any danger in any way, shape, or form. I think general play, the momentum is being killed in certain games over the past 18 months by the independent doctor, and it's really grinding people's gears at the moment. At the very least, it's grinding my gears because I just think it's so, I don't want to say dumb, but I really think it's such an easy solution for teams to, for sorry, not teams, but for the RLPA, for the NRL to say, all right, if there's ever a call where somebody needs to go for the HIA, leave it until a kick goes dead, or leave it until tackle one of a brand new set. Let's say Chance Nickel-Klukstar catches a high bomb, he's tackled, and he's about 20, 30 meters out from his try line, sort of thing. Stop the play then and there. It's tackle one. Yes, you could argue that the momentum is lost for Newcastle, who put in a good kick, for example, and the New Zealand Warriors have time to get back behind the ball. I think that is a better situation. I think that is a better solution than stopping the game in the middle of a 7-tackle set for the New Zealand Warriors, who may be down 4 points, for example, to try get back into the game, but then you call it off. Then you call time off in the middle of their set. I think my solution is better than what is happening right now. And as far as a solution to trying to get it right, the independent doctor must stay. Absolutely must stay. I'm all for it. And I'm happy to cop a few more weeks of teething problems. This is only 14 months old. It's only a year old that this independent doctor dilemma came in. So I'm happy to cop it for a few more weeks, but it's ruining the flow of the game at the moment. And that should always be a top priority for fans and people in high standings in the National Rugby League, that we can't afford to ruin the flow of games for certain aspects. And while player welfare is absolutely vital, it is right up there. I just think we can do this better. But the problem is, again, I backtrack a bit. The problem is, though, is if you get independent doctors out there on the field to evaluate them then and there, it means that one doctor from one GP is out of the community, and it puts just a fraction, or an important fraction, but it just puts a fraction more pressure on that GP, on that hospital that may need a GP or a doctor, or a doctor, but he or she is not there because he's at, or she's at, Suncorp Stadium watching the Broncos and Cowboys play. So the other, and the B point to it is the pay packet for these doctors. Who's going to pay these doctors to be there at the stadium? What's it going to look like? $100,000, is that too much or is it too little? That one I truly don't know. But if you're going to have a doctor be on standby every week or every second weekend in each city, especially when it comes to, let's say, a game is taken out to Tamworth this year, I think there is, between the Rabbitohs and Dragons, or the Tigers and the Rabbitohs. But a doctor will have to go overtime and leave his or her practice to go and overlook a game of footy. So it's very, very, very sensitive. But overall, we need the independent doctor for HIA situations. But I just think I'm happy to cop a few more rounds of momentum stalling and maybe incorrect independent doctor calls. But they're just looking after the players. That's I don't think anyone should or anyone can begrudge doctors and the NRL, the RLPA for doing it. Kalen Ponga's competitiveness, he was, excuse my French, he was pissed off. He wasn't going to come off for nobody, but he had to. And look, it's probably the right thing. It was the right thing. So, I just, if you guys got any comments about the independent doctor, I'll just go into the comment section. Look, Will says, look, Ponga is too susceptible to head injuries and is hurt innocuously. I think he needs to retire already. Oh, that is that's harsh, Will. That's harsh, and I respectfully disagree. He is still a young man, and he is not as old as Luke Keary. And Luke Keary, you could probably put in the same category as being susceptible, very susceptible to head knocks and injuries. But Kalen Ponga, look, if he can get over the next 12 weeks without an occurrence, or if he can get through it, I think Kalen Ponga, in the next couple of years, if he can stay injury free, will be massive. He'll be absolutely huge. Jack O'Hara says, independent doctor has more camera views angles than us. Ponga has a history of concussions, and he held his head after impact. HIA for sure. And I agree. I think taking Kalen Ponga off, even though it was just a fraction of a second where he did look to be really sore in the head, I think you're right, Jack O'Hara. I think he had to come off. If it was, I guess the other question too is, if it wasn't Kalen Ponga, let's say it was Reece Robson, who doesn't really get knocked out all that often. If it was Reece Robson, would the independent doctor rule for him to come off? It's just maybe the reputation supersedes Kalen Ponga, if you catch my drift. Jack O'Hara says, can be argued doctors at grounds will not have same access to so many cameras. That's a fair point. Yeah, no, I like that, Jack O'Hara. That's a really good point, actually. But then again, there are that many cameras, there are that many stations out there at a game that surely there is a meeting room. Surely there's a place where they can do something fair dinkum. Just go down to JB Hi-Fi and pick up a good deal on a TV and just whack it into the wall, sort of thing. But there's more money. Will says at least allow play until it's dead. Absolutely. And I'm really happy that we agree on that one. Wait until it's all dead and not killing the momentum of a club. Absolutely. Well, the ball is dead. Well, yeah, exactly. Yes. Jack O'Hara, it is a hard one as stopping momentum is terrible, but I guess there is no perfect way when it comes to HIA. Look, no, there's no perfect way. There's always going to be one person or a handful of people that are going to say that's wrong or I'm wrong. But I truly believe that is the best port of call. We're stopping the momentum of a team who's trying to get back into the game because of an independent doctor. And while player welfare is paramount, 60% is a very nice strike rate, but it's not perfect, and it's very hard. I mean, I don't begrudge doctors who are just trying to do their job. They've been asked of the NRL to do it. I just think there's a better way of not having the game come to a grinding halt. I think there's a much smoother process for the game to come to a stop in order to make sure that a player is okay to come off the field and assess him. And if that means that play goes on for another 20 seconds, I guess the danger is that if the player in question makes another tackle or two, then maybe somebody or the player in question or somebody out there will say, well, NRL didn't stop it. What's going on here? We're going to sue you in the next couple of years when this player's retired because of player endangerment to his welfare. You didn't stop the game in time. And that's a situation that happened all the way. And isn't that funny? That's a situation that happened with Nene McDonald, not with HIA, but he broke his leg and play was allowed to continue. And I think play went right past him or whatever. But It's such a tricky one, but I am more for game to be stopped after the play is dead or until the other team has got the ball back, after the end of a set. But the risk is if that player in question makes another tackle inside that 20 seconds, those vital 20 seconds, if he is able to get back in the line and defend again. Okay, that jaw is wobbling on the one issue for too long. Sorry, bro, but it is what everybody is talking about. And that's why they do call me the Wobblin jaw, bro. But I do think that I have covered all the bases over the past couple of minutes, though. Thank you, Jack O'Hare. Top 2 games of the week for me are Broncos, Panthers, and the season opener. Fair. Yeah, definitely fair, bro. It's one of the best opening rounds I've ever seen. Fraz, how important is Carrigan to this Broncos side, man? He has a lot of effect in the middle. We need to ensure that he's fit for 90% of the season. He is huge, man. He's huge. More important than Payne Haas. But as I said, I think I said to you anyway, on a different platform, Adam Reynolds, bro, was super important at the end of that game. Super, super important. But yeah, Pat Carrigan, bro, he has improved so much in the past 2 years. Unbelievable. And game you're looking forward to other than the Broncos Cows? And there ain't no game that I'm looking forward to more than Broncos and Cowboys. But there's some absolute blockbusters happening in round 2, isn't there? I don't want to give too much of a preview because my tips video is coming out tomorrow. The Ace High Tips show is coming out tomorrow with the Final Siren podcast, boys. So stay tuned for that. But I think the game I'm really looking forward to now, Panthers and Rabbits is massive. Panthers and Rabbits is such a great, massive way to kick off round 2. Fraz, most disappointing side from the week, I'm going to say Roosters based off the shock upset. Dogs only seem to lose 13 plus this week. They'll need some time, the Dogs. Yeah, those would probably be the 2, but I'd say the Dogs. I think the Dogs just played. Look, if you're a Dogs fan out there watching, I'm sorry, but I think the Dogs were dumb, and that's what they've been over the past few years, bro. Less last year, but they've been dumb for a few years. And yesterday, oh man, they fell off badly. Jacko, bro, Dogs were very disappointing for me. I thought they would be far better. Absolutely agreed. Penrith need to give Sonny more minutes, and Tigers not starting Appy. Yes, bro. Yes. Penrith with Sonny. No. Give Mitch Kenny, who deserves it, more of a chance, a few more weeks as starting hooker. But maybe do shave off 10 minutes. But let's see how we go over the next couple of weeks. Let's not rob Mitch Kenny of potentially some good minutes as well, because he is a great defender. He may not be the best attacking weapon for Penrith Panthers, but he was so important the other night because while they didn't win, Mitch Kenny's defense, man, he really took all the shit for Sonny Luke, and then Sonny Luke came on and did his thing very, very nicely. Looking forward to me tips. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much, man. Faraz says you doing a power rankings video this week based off where you picked off from the trials. Go back and watch this video, good sir. Go back and watch this video, good sir. Still sticking to Manly 13. Allianz or Accor. Okay, wow, they're coming in thick and fast for us. Allianz or Accor? Allianz. I've been lucky enough to go to the new Allianz Stadium, and it's spectacular. Dolphins Raiders game will be very interesting. I nearly said it, Jacko Hero. I nearly said it, bro. And it's sold out too. KO Stadium up at Redcliffe is sold out. I was going to go, but I've got some family matters. So, Dolphins Raiders, man, that's going to be a very, very interesting game. Have to rush it now. See you, Sam. Have a good night. We'll watch the full replay tomorrow. Take care, champion. Tomorrow will be fun. And I think that is a nice way to wrap it up, unless if anybody has any comments or questions they'd like to throw me away. But thank you very much to everybody that's watched from the very beginning. I really appreciate it. I expect that this Wobble and Jaw show will be a consistent thing on Monday nights. Monday nights is just massive on the YouTube platform, but I just love talking rugby league because my dog is sick of hearing about it. So thank you very much. Oh man, I'm starting to get tongue-tied. Thank you, Jason Reeder, as well. Thank you very much, guys. Have a very nice evening, and I'll see you tomorrow night on the first live Ace High Tip show. Thank you all very much for the compliments. Thank you, and have a good night.